Hello everybody. March 14th, 2014's weekly wrap-up. And still working on the advanced voice course, still working with those pentatonic scale patterns, combining them, released step 54 this week, which starts to combine the minor pentatonic scale pattern. When you start working on both the major and the minor pentatonic scale pattern and start combining those in combinations, you get all kinds of cool ideas and really start to understand, again, a lot about what's happening in the R&B and blues world when it comes to developing vocal licks. Now these pentatonic scale patterns can be used on any instrument, and they are, but you have to understand how to use it as a vocalist as opposed to as a guitarist or violinist or a keyboardist. I play all of those instruments and I play the pentatonic patterns on all of those instruments, but I think very differently as to what finger patterns are and how I would rhythmically glue those together and what I would do as a vocalist to actually sing vocal licks. So anyway, that's what this point at step 54 and step 53, that's what it's all about, starting to show you how to come up with combined vocalizations and rhythms so you can start to be very inventive and creative with vocal licks. Now on this week's weekly tip, I thought I'd talk a little bit more about taking the air pressure away from your throat. I'm always talking to everybody about the fact that taking the air pressure away from the throat, meaning the bulk of air that pushes up underneath the vocal cord to stop the vocal cords from working so hard, is one of the true secrets of understanding how to get higher up into your range. And this is a great little trick. I've got two straws right here, and you may notice that I blatantly here made one way bigger and a smaller one. And obviously, when you're blowing through these straws, the smaller one is going to resist the air a little bit more, and the bigger one's going to let even more air out. Now, before I use the straw and show you this little trick here, I'm saying that when we go to sing, hey, and if I go to that, hey, there's a certain amount of air coming through. And I always like to show everybody the trick too about putting the thumb underneath here and making sure that you don't feel any pressure or pull or grabbing of the muscles. Hey, ooh. The only thing you'll feel, like when I came down on that last note, I can feel my vibrato coming in a little bit and the way the muscle works there, which is very interesting. And another topic to talk about another time on tips when it comes to how vibrato works. Anyway, if you take a straw, and just this is a way to help you feel the release of the energy, and believe it or not, you just kind of go up and down an octave like ooh, and think that even through here. Don't try to so much blow through the straw as to just let the air sort of blow out naturally while you're making the sound. So like Now I know that seems kind of silly, but when you try it, you'll see that it feels a little bit easier to get up to that note at less pressure, because it's another way of deactivating the air pressure. It's a cool little trick. Not a lot of people in the country know about it, some do. Seems silly? Probably. Hey, but try it. Don't knock it until you try it. You'll start to feel the air pressure be less in your throat, and it'll feel easier to vocalize up and down your range. Now, you can also just take a little melody line. You know, so for instance, if I go, I'm sure you know that melody line, or oh, beautiful for spacious skies. Again, I can feel less air pressure. Now I can practice it again. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Ooh, for amber waves of grain. Just trying to use some generic ones, or the Star-Spangled Banner even. Oh, say, can you see? And you feel what that air pressure feels like, and then try it on with a straw. You might try it with a different straw, with a different size. Less resistance on this one. Actually, the bigger one's even easier to get the feeling to. By the dawn's early light, so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming. Now, of course, it's the next line. Gives everybody trouble, right? The two things I'm always talking about is taking the air pressure away from the throat and understanding pronunciation, because pronunciation, even if you have the air pressure right, when you start singing songs, the words, the consonant vowel combinations can mess you up. So, for example, on Star-Spangled Banner here, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air is the lyric, and that's the big note in the song. And if I go glare and hit this air and try to ride the air sound, it's going to be thicker and harder on my throat. If I repronounce glare and make it more like glear instead of glare, it's easier to pronounce that and sing that higher note. So combination of taking the air pressure away and singing the note. So example, and the rocket's red glare. That's very easy to hold on to. Even when I go to the bombs bursting in air, I can hold on to that. I'm still thinking almost like ear instead of air, just slightly. I don't go so far that people can understand that, but I'm thinking that shape-wise in my throat. And ended up, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Well, that part's easy because you've built up the pressure for the big high note, but when you come back down to your chest, you can rest there. You don't want to sing that as hard because it actually gives you a moment of rest. And then you can finally end the song. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Hold that longer than I need to, but just to show you that I'm holding on and riding the vowel. Oh, the land of the free. That's easier to sing because the E vowel sound closes down and shapes up in a very different way than the word glare. And figure it. And the home of the brave. Now, do you want to put a bunch of licks and lines? Even though I'm teaching people how to put together all these pentatonic scale patterns and do all the licks and lines, I'm a firm believer that if you use too many licks all the time, it becomes distasteful. So you want to learn it. Maybe if you were singing the Star-Spangled Banner and wanted to stylize it just a little bit, you might put something in one little spot somewhere. I actually believe in singing that particular song pretty traditionally and let the power of your voice and the presentation of how you sing that song ride on its own. But hey, everybody to their own. If you want to put a bunch of licks and lines to it, you could. In fact, you can learn how to put a bunch of licks and lines to it just by checking out the advanced voice course where we're at right now. Now, would I put those licks to it? Like I'm saying, no, but could I? For the land of the free and the home of the brave, or brave. Yeah, I can put the licks to it. I can think about pentatonic patterns and connect it in different ways and do all of the types of things that we're talking about. Again, I kind of like to look at that song a little more traditionally, but I know how to use licks, and I'm just showing you that I could do it. And that becomes everybody's choice, that becomes everybody's particular taste. Either way, it's holding on, and this simple little straw trick will help you feel what it feels like to release the air off the top of the chord and just get there a little easier, even though it still sounds strong. So, tip of the week. Take your melody lines, Take your exercises and sometimes vocalize through a straw. Try different size straws to see what feels the best. And all you're looking for is something that helps you sing higher and lower with less pressure in your throat. Little trick. Tip of the week. See you next time.